Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, welcome to the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. Thank you so much for joining us. Really nice to have you with us. We are the show that defends God, family, country, and the oppressed. And we're really glad to be doing it too, because we feel that we are doing God's work. We're going to talk about Curtis Yarvin's disciples, the people who he is influencing, and he's really the brainchild. If you look at Stalin, Khrushchev, Hitler, Mussolini, who did they originally owe their philosophies to? I would argue it's Karl Marx, hence the term Marxism. Well, maybe we should call this Yarvinism because Yarvinism is influencing where we are going, and this has so many spin-offs. I couldn't cover this in a week. It's so intricate and complicated, but it is like an albatross that's encompassed this country and has taken it over. It dominates business. It's dominating every phase of our lives. And if we're not careful, we're going to wake up one day and we're going to think we're the Soviet Union and their old rules were a vacation compared to what we have here. And I'm not promoting fear, I'm promoting awareness so we can take collective action. Prayer action first, political action second. Let's take a look at Yarvinism in this segment, but I'm going to say this too. I've said this many times, and maybe you're going to start to get it. Inflation is intentional, and it always has been. When the Federal Reserve charges a usury fee to distribute the dollar, in violation of the Constitution where it says Congress shall coin money, right? When they do that, it's inflationary from the top, right from the very beginning. From the fee that they take from your tax dollars, that's inflationary right there. Inflation's intentional and it's built into our system. And your inflation rate, which supersedes your income, fixed income in particular, your investments, for the most part, certainly government-based investments like treasuries, bonds. Inflation's outpacing this. And that makes the real value of the debt go down. That 39, almost $40 trillion going down, 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 down. And you're paying for that. This is only part of the plan to transfer wealth in this country. And we're going to go through and talk about the privatization of America, Yarvinism style, who's behind it, how they're doing it, and some of the companies that are in this chain of power are doing it, how they're accomplishing their goals. Okay, so let's say this too before we start. Your antidote, your antidote to all of this is gold and silver. If your retirement's in a bank, they could take it because of Dodd-Frank 2010, right? You're an unsecured credit, they can take your money. They can bail you in, they can bail you out, they could just flat confiscate it. All right, you don't want that. So never should have a retirement in the bank. Go to Noble Gold. They'll show you how to set it up in your name. No one controls it, and you back it with precious metals rather than a failing dollar. So that sounds pretty good. It is really good. Also, too, you should hold gold and silver, and you should take possession of it. And my recommendation is to hide it. Okay, because it's the hedge against the inflation that they're using from you to pay down the debt. So they can keep the government going a little longer to accomplish their goals. Ultimately, their goals include corporatism, and government becomes an administrative arm of the corporations. And I keep referring back to this. You should really go watch the movie Rollerball 1975, James Caan, that shows how the world was structured. And this is really very close to where they're taking this. Now, with the gold aspect, how do you do it? Well, first of all, let me just say this. I put my money where my mouth is, or I should say I put my gold where my mouth is because I've been a customer of Noble Gold for 9 years plus. Go to the phone and call 877-646-5347, 877-646-5347. All right. Trump announced when he was elected that he was going to create 10 new freedom cities, and we're taking bids. What? A lot of you missed this, but this was part of his post-inaugural speech. He gave his inauguration speech, and then later on he made comments. He goes, "Yeah, we're going to have freedom cities." It's an oxymoron because they're not about freedom, and they're taking bids. From who? Who owns these cities? We're not, it's not New York City where even in that communist environment by Mandami, you have the people ostensibly owning the city. It's their tax dollars that support it. This is bizarre. And then he goes on to say in the same speech, winners make the rules. Well, I can tell you who the freedom cities are going to be controlled by. The Yarvinists. This is going to be a new term. I hope this catches on. Curtis Yarvin, whose philosophy influences all these people that I'm going to be talking about. It's the Yarvinist philosophy. Let's get into a couple of things here. Okay. First of all, there's Praxis, a private group controlled by Dryden Brown and Charlie Callanan. And they're tied intimately with Peter Thiel. And they are all about investment into privatized cities. And we've had a few. Shady Springs, Georgia. What a great name for really off-color activity. Shady Springs, Georgia. Total privatized city at one time. Now the people did away with it because they all went broke over it. Now let's talk about Praxis. They have raised $525 million. They're one of the people that want to do these freedom cities that Trump talks about. And it's a private utopian society run by a corporate manifesto, not the Constitution of the United States. And when you play this out, these privatized cities will become enterprise zones. Uh-oh, that got my attention when I found this out. Back in the late 90s, when I was still living in Glendale, Arizona, the city of Glendale wanted to bring in enterprise zones, and they wanted us to pay for it. Corporations ruling over an area with their own rules, no property taxes for them. Oh boy. And my neighbors, for some reason, they wanted me to come and speak at the meeting. And I said, I don't think I'll make any difference, but okay, I'll go do it. And the city council room was filled. It's a rather large place. And I got up and took my turn, and oh, did I draw the ire? Oh my goodness, did I ever? Because I started talking about due process, Fifth Amendment, fiduciary responsibility of the elected to the elect, to the constituents. And they had abandoned their responsibility to us. We defeated the enterprise zones. And then I find out through Praxis, they're coming back. Privatized cities run by their own rules, and basically they'll operate as enterprise zones in almost a city state, not almost, it is a city state within a nation. And Praxis is primarily behind it. Now, the major investor is Peter Thiel. Oh, and you wonder why I keep saying we're moving away from republic form of democracy and transitioning into corporatism or oligarchical corporatism. That means elite rule through corporations. And this isn't the first time we've seen this. And this is a transformation for Trump. In the Obama years, you may remember this, something called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And it's really important that you hear what I'm saying. The Trans-Pacific Partnership. It was masquerading as a 12-nation free trade agreement, but to pass it, it had to go through the Senate. And that House, they made it a House bill too. They tried to avoid calling it a treaty, but that's what it was. A trade treaty between 12 nations, mostly Pacific Rim nations. But it was really disguised as global governance by corporations. In the document for the Trans-Pacific Partnership, labeled the TPP. They had a provision for a 22 businessman panel that could override everything Congress, the Supreme Court, and the president could do. Obama was on board. Congress was not allowed to read it. Only Paul Ryan of Wisconsin was allowed to read it and recommended voting up or down. Who in their right mind in Congress would vote on a blank check on the recommendation of one person? Well, it passed, and it was set to go into effect in 2017, but something happened. The expected presidential successor to Obama, Hillary Clinton, was almost magically defeated by Donald Trump, and he comes in with these ideals to save America. The first thing he did was gut the TPP. He saved America from business rule over our government. It was direct. It was onerous. Trump was totally loyal to you when he did that, totally loyal to the Constitution. And that's the moment I said, I voted for the right man. Now he is supporting the same thing in a different form. You need to look at these 10 freedom cities they plan to build, and I'll give you international examples of how they work, and you're not going to like it. But these 10 cities, look at them like the beginning of a cancerous tumor. And what do these tumors do? They spread and they consume and they destroy. And this is cancerous tumors being put into America, these freedom cities. It's corporate, not constitutional rule. It's oligarchy, not republic form of democracy. And people say, why haven't I heard of this? Okay, well, you go back and you can play this digital presentation, slow it down, write the names down, go do your research. Praxis. This is really what we're looking at doing here. All right, so we had the beginning of it with Dryden Brown and Charlie Callan, and they credit Curtis Yarvin with the ideas. Private utopian society, okay, invest in privatized city. Pronos capital is the operating mechanism in this. In other words, who's going to be the prime mover and organizer? So I went and investigated this, and I found out they've set up privatized cities on an island off the coast of Honduras. They're doing it all through Africa, and they're doing it at Subic Bay in the Philippines. And it's corporate rule. It's privatized cities operating independently inside. It's kind of like DC, a territory within a country, because DC is not a state. It's a city state, federally owned. This is just bizarre. This is privately owned. Now, their investors, main one is Peter Thiel, but listen to who else is involved. Hold on to your hat because the second name I'm going to give you here is going to shock you. Sam Altman, stand next to Peter Thiel. Okay, so if you don't think this is corporatocracy in action, you're not paying attention to who the people are. Then the other investor, I almost fell out of my chair when I saw this. Sam Bankman-Fried, who's no longer in prison. Oh, he's technically under arrest in a huge multi-million dollar mansion. I don't know if he wears an ankle bracelet. I assume he does. They try to keep it legal. This man defrauded how many people? He wrecked crypto for a while with his fraud. Sam Bankman-Fried. And he's an investor in this. Does this tell you everything you need to know? I mean, his crimes dominated the headlines for weeks into months. And good firms like My Digital Money, who you know I have a relationship with, I'm friends with the CEO, they were devastated by this. People who played by the rules because of the reputation fallout. Sam Bankman-Fried is in this. Okay, that tells you everything you need to know. They're also building a city in Greenland. Hold on, where have we heard Greenland? Oh, that's right. Trump wants to take it over. He wants to privatize the entire continent. And this is what they're doing in Gaza. This is the Board of Peace, World Liberty Foundation, Jared Kushner, Witkoff, all the Trump people privatizing Gaza into their own private. Yeah, exactly. You get the idea, people? Are you getting it now? Oh, okay. Continuing. Dryden Brown, who's one of the co-owners of Praxis, has come out and has praised Yarvin's views. Remember, told you he's a white supremacist. He wants a techno monarchy. Slavery is better than democracy. Democracy is a mistake. And his famous quote, also quoted by Karp, the CEO of Palantir, Peter Thiel's corporation, says, "I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible." Yeah, that these people and they're not calling their organizations enterprise zones, okay, because that would be linked back to the 90s when that movement failed because of activists. They're called acceleration zones, and they're based on three primary things: crypto, controlling energy, controlling biotech. They have reading lists for their members. They want people that come into this to read the bell curve. Remember what I said? Curtis Yarvin said non-white people are less intelligent, have lower IQs. And remember, I went off on that. And I pointed out the fallacy of that thinking, but that's in the bell curve, the book. This is required reading for people who come in and they're administrators for this movement. Read the bell curve. They're also reading various works of fascism. And here's the trigger. And this is something I've gotten from other researchers. This isn't something I discovered. I don't want to take credit for it. But many of the other researchers out there say they have a fascination with Nazi occultism. Well, they are Nazis, given their political underpinnings and what they're saying and their racist policies. Okay, but the Yarvinism racist policies. But this goes beyond that because now they're moving into what the Nazis love, which is occultic, which means they're satanic. And then people say, Dave, why do you think this movement's moving into the mark of the beast? 666 can't buy or sell. Why do you think this could be setting this up? I just told you. See, I just didn't make that claim out of thin air to try to excite people. This is my fear. I wish this wasn't true. You know, I would rather watch the Diamondbacks play baseball today than to talk about this. But I'm not doing my job if I don't warn you. Now, let me tell you how the organizations are going to be set up. Think of the Old West and company towns. Think of the Old West and company towns. The owners of the town control the grocery stores, the utilities, transportation, furniture stores, clothing stores. They control everything. They own the house that you live in and rent as a worker. Oh, and what's the trend today in modern real estate? Private equity, right? Who owns 40% of all new homes that are sold now? They're building what? Homes for rent all over the country. They're permeating Phoenix. When I drive places, I see rental homes for cheap. Yeah. Well, this is the philosophy right here. The company towns, brutal, harsh working conditions is what they were known for in the 19th century. Little food choice, no freedom. This is where they could control your practice of faith. I'm not saying they control your soul, they control your heart and what you believe, but they can sure make it difficult for you to worship. And if they are into Nazi occultism, and certainly the racist policies are anti-Christian, you should be very, very concerned about this. I'm going to leave you with this thought. I challenge anyone out there, and I'll send you two of these for free. If you can prove I'm wrong on anything that was said here, document it. I don't mean some newscast. I mean actual documentation. Go look up Praxis, Praxis. Okay, look up Dryden Brown, Charlie Callinan, Callinan. Look them up. Look who their investors are. review the crimes of Sam Bankman-Fried, realize he's the third biggest investor in these projects. Okay, you look that up. Look up the term acceleration zones. Okay, and I'm going to turn this into an article and publish it. And I'm going to have references. And I'm going to probably need 4 or 5 days to get it done because I'm going to a conference this weekend. But I'm going to get this done and put that out there. But don't wait for me. Go out here and do this now. Look up Curtis Yarvin and his views that I think we should call Yarvinism. And then prove me wrong in the spirit of Charlie Kirk. Prove me wrong. We should all be outraged at this. And how did they capture Donald Trump? Did he just sell out to big tech because they could get him elected? I don't know. This is what a lot of people that I talk to believe. I am slow to abandon Donald Trump because he held so much promise. I didn't look at him as a great Christian, to be honest with you. And I was pleased when he started talking about Jesus and the fact that Butler's assassination attempt, God spared his life. He has a purpose. I thought this is really a positive example for our country. But now he thinks this is okay. And he's the one who first talked about it publicly. It's scary. It's scary. And Americans, and in particular Christians, are going to have some hard decisions to make going forward. Arm yourself with the facts, do the research, and then come back and say, Dave, you're on board. What do we do? And we can start putting our heads together. I'll tell you right now, you can start praying. And number two, you can vote everybody out of office that's running just to be safe so we get fresh people in there. I don't know if we can make a difference in the midterms, and I don't think we have a lot of time to turn this around. I don't have a time frame, but this is moving so quickly. From inauguration day to now, we're seeing this sweep Africa and in the other areas like Subic Bay. This is scary. This is scary as heck. I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. Never. Am I taking a risk talking about this? I guess we're going to find out. Remember, if you oppose data centers, you're looked at as a suspected domestic terrorist in DHS memos that have now come out. So I think it's a hop, skip, and a jump to that. But I don't think we can live in fear. I think we need to be in the Ephesians 5:11 business, and we need to stand up to this tyranny. This is not what America is meant to be. I'm Dave Hodges. This is The Common Sense Show. Check out our newsletter at thecommonsenseshow.com. Upper right-hand corner, newsletter link. Click it on, put it in your email. That's all we need, and you'll get an update of everything we do every single day. Thanks for joining us. God bless all of you.